Welcome back. So now we have a fire pit and some logs that the player can pick up and put on here until they get 3, and then it stops them picking this up, and we're getting close to being able to finish our game. However, one of our rules was that the player needs to collect some flint and stone. So let's create those now over here. Alright, so just near here again, let's make some we'll make these spheres this time. Alright, and we're just going to do 1 to start with, so let's scale that down till it's fairly small, and we'll make stone, so let's say stone part. Okay, and it's already medium grey stone, so we could change perhaps this to granite, or maybe something else. I don't know. Let's see, maybe, yeah, pebble looks good. Alright, and to stop it rolling away, we want to come down and change the anchored to on, and turn off can collide so that we can run into it. Now we're going to do the stone part first, and then the flint part I'll talk to you about after this, because they are almost identical, okay, apart from what they are called. So let's put a script into this, and we will call this our stone script. And we're going to go through the same process as we did earlier with setting up a touch function. So move ahead if you like, but local, okay, so stone equals script.parent. We'll add a db into here, then we'll add our touched function. Okay, remember colon, connect, and then we add our function with our hit in there, which part of the character is hitting. Local character equals hit.parent. Local humanoid, we're looking in the character, so char colon find first child. Okay, we're looking for a humanoid. Whoops. Then we'll put in our conditional statement. Change our DB to be false, with a weight down the bottom there of say 2, and set DB back to true. So that's our basic pickup script. So what do we want to happen when we pick it up? Well, the game needs to know whether we have picked up a stone or a flint, etc. So in here, let's develop these two. Now we don't need to show these on the screen necessarily, we just need to pick them up. Alright, so we can put this in the player vars. If you want to show them the stone count as 1 and the well, we might as well, I guess, in the leader stats, it doesn't really matter. Alright, so we'll put up here, we'll make a new variable called player stone. No, I think because they're only going to pick up 1 of them, we just need to know if they have it or not. Okay, so I'll go down here and do it this way. Of course, you can change things if you like. Okay, so player has stone, and an instance.new, so they'll either have it or they don't, which means it will be a Boolean value, alright, true or false. So player has stone, alright, dot name, and has stone. Okay, underneath this, say player has stone dot value will be false when we start, and we need to parent that. has stone dot parent equals, and we are storing this in the player vars folder. So like I said, the Flint is going to be exactly the same as this, so we can just copy and paste this straight underneath here, okay, and we can change where it says stone, we can say Flint. Alright, nothing over there is Flint, but we need to change this one to Flint, this one to Flint, this one to Flint, and has Flint. Alright, so we've got two booleans there to let us know whether the player has picked these up. Alright, so coming back over to our stone script then, we now want to access these. Now, like I said, this is these scripts are going to be almost identical. So instead of stone, let's change this to say pickup. Alright, pickup. And there's a couple of ways we can do this. We can either create our stone part and put a value directly into it to say what it is, okay, or we can look at the name when we get down here. So if db etc, we can get down to here. Let's get our player down here. So local player equals game dot players. Okay, find first child character dot name. So we're finding the name of our player. Then we put this in player vars. So we want to get that folder. So player colon, and remember wait for child, okay, player vars, that gets us the player vars folder. And then we're going to say player has stone, okay, equals player vars, find first child has stone, and we're also going to put in here local player has Flint equals player vars, find first child has Flint. Right, so the pickup is going to be the thing that determines which value that we change here, because the pickup will have a name. It has a name here, all right? So whatever the part touched, which at the moment it's stone, all right? But when we put Flint part in there, it'll say Flint part, okay? So in here we'll say if pickup dot name equals, okay, and we'll say this one stone part, then obviously we want to change player has stone dot value to be equal to true. All right. And also, because we're picking this up, we want to make the pickup disappear. So regardless of what's happening, so we'll say pickup dot transparency equals 1 to make it disappear, and to make it reappear after, well, we'll make this a bit longer. We can say pickup transparency down the bottom here, set it back to 0 so it reappears, so you can pick it up again. And we can have a separate part now, so a separate conditional statement. So we can just copy all of that and put it down here. If pickup name is Flint part, which we haven't made yet, we want to change player has Flint value, and it's still pickup transparency, okay, equals 1. So the only thing we're changing is the Flint or the stone. And if you only want them to pick up 1, because the game will end after this, we can put in here and player has stone dot value. Now that would be true, but we want it to be only false to enable them, so we can just put in here not, which means instead of putting equals false, then we put in not. And remember, it gets changed here, so if that's the case, it won't let them pick it up again, and it won't disappear. All right, and so we'll put the same thing down here, and not player has Flint dot value. Then we can change it in here. All right, so that should take care of picking it up and picking up the stone and the flint. So let's come back now into here, and we will duplicate this, and we're going to change this to the Flint part. That's the only thing we need to change in the code. Right, and we will now move it over, whoops, we'll move it over this way a bit, and I think we should make that, you know, look a bit different. So let's perhaps make it yeah, we'll just make it black, that's fine. So that's our Flint part, and this is our stone part over here, each with the same script running in them, but running independently depending on whether one or the other has been picked up. So the player, even though they disappear, really doesn't know that they've picked those up. So we could, for instance, come back up to the top here and add these to show them like we did earlier. So let's say we say local player Flint and equals instance.new. Now we could put a string in to say yes or no, or we could just put a count. So I think we'll just stick with the int value to increase, and we'll say player Flint dot name equals let's call it Flint, and player Flint dot value equals 0, and then we parent it. Okay, so player Flint dot parent equals, and leader stats this time, so it'll show up the top. And we'll do the same thing we did before, copy and paste this down here, and change these to stone this time. So stone, 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 and stone. And lastly, this one, stone. Alright, so we made a few changes and jumped around there a little bit. So how about we save this and see if it works. Right, so it's running, and you'll notice up the top here we have log count, flint, and stone. If I run over one of these, it's disappeared. I see, we didn't actually change the value. So let's come back into our code here, and even though I've changed the same code in each of these, it's running in two different parts. Alright, which there's better ways to do that, but for now let's just work with what we've got. So go to the stone part here first, and remember the one that we want to change is this one, stone, so we need to get that value and increase it. All right. Now we're only going to pick up one of these. So if player has stone value equals true, then up here we'll say local player, and we'll just call this stone. And now remember, this is in player in the leader stats now, so we need to do another folder up the top here, another variable. So local player stats is player weight for child, okay, leader stats. Then down here for this new variable, we want to look in the player stats folder. Okay, so find first child stone, and we want to do the same thing for Flint. So local player Flint equals p stats. Whoops. Find first child Flint. So because we're only going to pick this up once for each of these, when this value changes, we will also only change it to, so this one in this particular case is the stone, so we'll say player stone dot value equals 1. So we're not going to add 1 to it, we're just going to change it to 1, and player Flint dot value equals 1. So remember, this is the stone script that has gone in here, and the Flint script needs to be the same. So open your Flint script up and simply delete it, okay, and then taking your stone script, hold down Control C to copy it, okay, and now when you paste into a part, you need to hold down Command and Shift and then paste for it to go in correctly. Now if you have troubles with that, just duplicate this script and then drag it into this part, okay, and we might even change that so that we know that we've now got two separate scripts, even though they're the same thing. Alright, let's save that and see if we can get that working now, okay? Alright, so if I just run over the Flint, there we go, I've got a Flint. Alright, and if I run over it again, we don't get another one. I've got a stone, okay, and I can't get any more of those. Okay, same thing, and it's working correctly with exactly the same code. And we can get our logs. Okay, there's our logs. And there we go. And I can no longer pick up any more logs. And we are set up there, everybody, ready to complete the game and start a fire, which we will do in the next video. So I shall see you then.